again, math learners. So we are in the week 45, quarter 4 of the Mathematics 9. So this is the part 2. And the part 1, I was able to discuss on how we're going to solve the known sides and angles of our given right triangles. So in this part, this is already based on the learner's pocket, week 4 to 5, which is about the word problems involving the right triangles. So let's start off with the process. So here are the steps in problem solving involving trigonometric ratios. First, you have to draw a diagram. So from this diagram, you will be able to draw the right triangle and then determine the given and the question that needs to be answered. You have to identify the corresponding trigonometric formula, like the part 1 of our video, to be used. So you have to show your solution and present the conclusion. Let's start with our first illustration from the development part of our learner's pocket. So let me read the problem. A tower is 15.24 meters high. So let's underline that one. So 15.24 meters high, the tower. So this is the tower. Then a certain distance away from the tower, an observer, so maybe on this place, the observer determines that the angle of elevation to the top is 41 degrees. So this is not written on the learner's pocket. So this is 41 degrees. How far is the observer from the tower? How far? So since it's talking about the how far, it's talking about the distance of the observer to the tower. So let me use a variable x. So this is the unknown. So from our first video, you have to identify our unknown and given. So let me just write the right triangle form from that problem. Let's write the right triangle. So this is the height, which is 15.24. Our unknown is the distance x. Our angle of elevation is 41 degrees. So from our given, this 15.24 is the opposite, and this unknown side is the adjacent. So we have opposite over adjacent, correct. So we are going to use tangent from our SOHCAHTOA. So TOA is equal to opposite, or tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. The angle is 41. The opposite, or the formula is opposite over adjacent. Our opposite is 15.24. And our adjacent side is x. So again, from our previous videos, we have the unknown is on the denominator, so we have to divide. So x is equal to 15.24 divided by tangent 41. So how are we going to show that? Let me erase first this one so that you will be able to see. So again, using your calculator, you're just going to input your 15.24. So 15.24, then the division divided by, which is tangent 41. Then your equal sign. So again, you're just going to input 15.24, then the division sign, then your tangent 41. So the answer is 17. So the answer is 17.53. So 17.53. The unit is in, I think it's in meters. So the answer is 17.53 meters. Let's have the next example from our learner's pocket. Here we have an airplane is flying at a height of 4 kilometers above the ground. The distance along the ground from the airplane to the airport is 6 kilometers. What is the angle of depression from the airplane to the airport? So we have here your 4 kilometers. 4 kilometers and then which is the height or the altitude of our airplane. Then we have the 6 kilometers, which is the distance of the airplane on the ground. And then we are going to find the angle of depression, which is your angle alpha. Okay. So how are we going to find that? So if this is 4 kilometers, we can also find that this is also 4. And this is 6 kilometers. This is also 6. So we can draw your triangle like this. So this is your angle of depression, which the unknown angle, which is this is 6 and this is 4. So again, looking at our given, that 4 is the opposite. This 6 is the adjacent side. So if that is our unknown, we can use tangent kasi opposite over adjacent. So tangent theta, the unknown, our opposite is 4 and our adjacent is 6. So to find again your tangent angle theta, we are going to find the shift or the inverse of tangent, then 4 over 6. So how are we going to use your calculators? Let me erase first these illustrations. So, to use your calculator, we're going to input first your shift. So, shift muna. Ito po, shift. And then, tangent. Use your parentheses. Then, 4 divided by 6. Another parenthesis. And then, your equal sign. So, we're going to have shift tangent 4 divided by 6. So your angle is 33.69 degrees. Okay, so that is our answer for the second example from the learner's pocket. Let's have another one. So we have here a very complicated problem. So we have here an observer in a lighthouse 48.8 meters above sea level saw two vessels moving directly towards the lighthouse on the same path. He observed that the angles of depression are 42 degrees and 35 degrees. So there are two. And so we have to find the distance between the two vessels, assuming that they are coming from the same side of the tower. So we have here your 48.8 meters, which is the height of the lighthouse. And then the angle of depression, which is 35 degrees. 35 degrees for 42 degrees for our. So we have here two vessels. We have the same path. We observe angles of depression 42 degrees and 35 degrees. So dalawa po yun. So this is the 35 degrees and this is the 42 degrees. So that hindi lang po ito yung 42 degrees ha. Baka sabihin nyo mas malaki pa yung 35 sa 42. Ang 42 degrees is ito. Okay? Isang buo po yan. So find the distance between the two vessels. So we have your 48.8 meters and you have a 35 and a 42 degree angle. So what we need to find here is the distance between the two vessels. So we're going to have two triangles involved. We have two triangles or two right triangles involved here. So let me name those two right triangles. So we have the triangle. You have your COE, which is the 35 degree angle. And we have your triangle BOD, which is the 42 degree angle. So, for us to be able to find this distance, ito kasi yung kailangan natin, yung distance sa pagitan ni B at saka ni C. So, for us to be able to find that distance, we have to find their length. Each length. So, kailangan makuha natin yung length na to, this one, which is DO. And, kailangan din nating makuha yung distance ng OE. Okay? Pag nakuha na natin sila pareho, we have to subtract para makuha natin yung distance nito sa pagitan. Okay? So let us have two solutions for this. Let's illustrate using two triangles. So this one is the 35-degree angle, and this one is your 42. Sorry for my triangle. So this is 48.8. So this is also 48.8 as well as this one. So that is for the two triangles. Ito po yung dalawang triangle na sinasabi po natin. Ito yung unang triangle, yung maliit. And then, the bigger triangle, ito po. Hindi yung mahaba, yung kay 35. So, yun po yung sinasabi po ni ma'am. So, if we're going to illustrate that one, so this is the unknown. Let's say this is x and this is y. So, looking at our given, it's obvious that we can see an opposite and an adjacent side. Opposite and adjacent side, looking at our given or our angle theta. So, since we have opposite and adjacent, we are going to use tangent. So that's 35. Our formula is opposite over adjacent. The opposite is x. 48.8. I'm sorry for that one. So the opposite is 48.8 and our adjacent is x. So to find our angle or the x, we're going to divide since it's on the denominator. So that's 48.8 over tangent 35. So, using your calculators, we're going to have 48.8 divided by tangent 35 is 69.69. So, that's meters. Then, for this one, we're going to use again tangent. And that is tangent 42 is equal to 48.8 divided by y. So, the unknown is in the denominator. So, that's division. 48.8 divided by tangent 42. Using the calculator, we're going to have 54.20. So, that is the two length. Sabi ko nga kanina, to be able to find the distance between the two, we're going to subtract. So, that's x minus y. So, we have 69.69 minus 54.20. So, the distance between the two vessels is 15.49 meters. So that's the answer. So let's proceed now with the answers on the engagement, assimilation, and assessment part. So this is what I'm going to do with the three. So I'm going to show all the illustrations for engagement up to the assessment. But I'm just going to show the answer for the first questions. So see, up to you on how you're going to answer the next two or next three questions. So let's start. So we have here an illustration on the engagement number 1 and engagement number 2. So we have here the illustration on engagement number 1. It asked for the value or the measurement of angle A. So based from our part 1, so we have to know the relationship of that angle A to our given. So looking at our given, this A, angle 6, or looking at 6, this is the opposite. And then this 12 is the adjacent. So we have an opposite over adjacent part. So that is TOA again. We're going to use tangent. So tangent A is equal to the opposite over adjacent. The opposite is 6 and the adjacent is 12. So inputting it on your calculator, you're just going to have shift tangent, then 6 divided by 12. So, we're going to have the angle A is equal to the inverse of 6 over 12. And we're going to have 26.57 degrees as our angle A. So, to input that again, you're going to have or you're going to input shift tangent, then the parenthesis that is 6 divided by 12, then your equal or the parenthesis, then your equal sign. then for number 2, so you find the height of the flagpole. So here, I'm just going to help you to imagine what you're going to have 3 meters. So this is also 3 meters. You have to have two answers here. So 3 meters, and then you have 65 degrees. And then another one, which is 30 degrees. And we have here again another 3 meters. You have to assign here x and then y to find the height of the flagpole. And then you just have to add x and y. Okay, so you have to know what trigonometric ratio you can use here. I think this is both tangent. Then you have to add x and y, your two answers. Let's go to the assimilation. So we have here a problem, a ladder problem. A ladder 8 meters long, okay, leans against a wall of a building. So let's illustrate that one. So we have here a ladder 8 meters long, lean against the wall. If the foot of the ladder makes an angle of 68 degrees, it makes a 68 degrees on the wall. So how far is the base of the ladder? How far is the base of the ladder from the wall? So we are going to look at this one. So this is the base of the ladder and this is the foot of the wall. So we're going to find this distance. So we are going to name it as x. So looking again at our given, at 68 degrees, this x is the adjacent part and this 8 meters is the hypotenuse. So if you're going to have adjacent over hypotenuse, we are going to use cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we're going to have cosine. Our angle is 68 degrees. Our formula is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is x. Hypotenuse is 8. Since our unknown is on the numerator, we can simply multiply the two. So to get value of x, that's 8 times your cosine 68 degrees. So you're just going to input that on your calculator, 8 cosine 68, and we have an answer which is, when rounded off, you can round it off into 3 meters. So we have 2.996852, so that's around 3 meters. So that's the answer. So if we're going to use again your calculator, you're just going to input 8, then cosine, then 68, and this one's 68, 68. So we're going to have 3 meters as our correct answer. So let's illustrate the next one. So we have number 2. Again, I'm just going to illustrate. It's for you to answer. So we have a man 1.5 meters tall. 1.5 meters tall is on top of a building. He observes a car on the road at an angle of 75 degrees. If the building is 30 meters high, how far is the car from the building? So we have here a building. Sorry for my illustration. So we have a building here which is 30 meters high. Then we have another person here which is 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters. And then we have an angle of depression which is 75 degrees. Okay, the question is how far is the car? Nandito po yung car. How far is the car from the building? So if this is 75, that is also 75 degrees. So what trigonometric ratio are you going to use to solve the unknown? So this is the value of x. Let's have the next illustration. So an airplane took off from an airport and traveled at a distance rate and an angle of elevation. Okay, so we have an airplane. Mag-airplane po tayo dito. And travel a constant rate when the airplane reach an altitude. So, altitude is 500 meters. So, that's the height. Its horizontal distance from the airport was found to be 235 meters. So, nandito po yung airport. So, that is 235 meters. What was the angle when the airplane rose from the ground? So, ano yung angle na to? When the airplane rose from the ground. So, we have 500 meters, 235 meters. This is your unknown angle theta. What trigonometric ratio are you going to use? We have here your assessment. So, we have 3 questions from the assessment. So, solve the following word problems using the methods that we use. So, let's start with question number 1. Obi-Wan is standing at a distance 15 meters from the base of a tree. From where he is standing, he sees the top of the tree. If the tree is 15 meters high and Obi-Wan is 1 meter tall, what is the angle of elevation of the top of the tree? So let's draw. We have here your Obi-Wan. Then we have, oh my gosh. Let's draw that properly. Then we have here your tree. Then, so this becomes your horizontal line now. So, OB1 is 1 meter tall. 1 meter tall. And then, if the tree is 15 meter high, this is already 14 meters already. Kasi minus 1 natin yung height ni OB1. And then, what is the angle of elevation of the top of the tree? Okay. So, this is the angle which is we're going to find. So, we have here OB1 from the top of the tree. We're going to find the angle of and what is the angle of elevation to the top of the tree? So, the distance again of OB1 to the tree is also 15 meters. So, this is already 14. This is 15. So, looking at this, at the angle of elevation, 14 is the opposite. This distance or the distance between OB1 and the tree is the adjacent. So, we're going to use tangent. So, tangent theta, the opposite is 14 and the adjacent side is 15. So, to find your angle theta, we're going to have the inverse of 14 over 15. So, we're going to use your calculators. So, inverse of tangent, 14 over 15. So, we're going to have 43.03 as our angle theta. So, the theta is 43.03 meters. Yan. So, if you're going to use your calculator, so you're going to have the shift of the tangent, then your parentheses, then 14 divided by 15, then your equal sign. So, that's how you're going to answer your number 1 of the assessment. Then, we have another question here. A bamboo pole is leaning against a tree. So, that's just like our ladder a while ago. So, we have a bamboo pole leaning against our tree. So, if the height of the tree is 12.2 meters, so we have here the tree, which is 12.2 meters. And the angle made by the pole on the ground, or the angle made by on the ground is 40 degrees. What is the length of the pole? So, we're going to find this one. So, the length of the tree is 12.2 meters. The angle made on the ground is 40 degrees. So, this is the unknown. So what trigonometric ratio are you going to use if you have these two given and unknown? Now, number 3, we have, according to a lighting specialist for an art gallery, for the best illumination of a piece of art, it is recommended that the ceiling mounted light be 1.8 meters from the piece of the art, and that the angle of the progression of the art piece is 38 degrees. How far from the wall should the light? Okay, so we have here your light, and then we have here your art piece. So we have this illustration. So the angle of depression is 38 degrees, and then the light must be 1.8 meters from the art piece. So the question is, how far from the wall is the light? So ito po yung wall, and this is our light. So we have to find the distance. So we have your 38 degrees, and then this is 1.8 meters. So to find this value of x, what is this 1.8 meters and what is this x? What trigonometric ratio can we use? So let's illustrate it properly. So this is 1.8. So this is 1.8, and this is the value of x, and this is 38 degrees. So what trigonometric ratio can you use? Okay, so I hope you can answer that one. And that's all, class. I hope you understand and how you're going to answer the 2-week learner's pocket for the mathematics 9. That's for week 4 to 5. So you have 2 weeks for you to answer and understand that word problems. I hope you can answer that one using this video. I hope I was able to help you to understand and answer those learners pockets. So that's all. Thank you, and God bless everyone.